Hi everyone, this is Dorothy Taylor with Soul of Chiron, and this is a special YouTube video regarding the start of the January 6, 2021 hearings, publicly televised portion of it. And so I wanted to give a little bit more information about regarding the astrology of it. So I've brought up this chart for January 9th, 9 or 8 p.m. because that's when the hearings will start to be televised. I'm using a whole house sign chart. When I bring up the US Sibley chart, it will look a little bit differently. But let's just talk about what's going on transit-wise at the start of these hearings, and then we'll go on from there. So Mercury, as we said before, as I said in the last video, is at a trine to Pluto here. It's also at a grand trine up here to what is known as the MC in astrology, which is the highest point in the chart. And so, you know, it's an indication that the information that we have going on from Pluto to Capricorn to Mercury and Taurus and up into Virgo, the sign of being of service, is and day-to-day life, it's all cooperating. And so I'm guessing that there will be a large number of people watching this, and I'm guessing that at least in the beginning things will seem to flow pretty easily. We may get some new information, but I'm guessing this first night there probably won't be as much new information coming out just looking at these transits as there will be in the coming days. The moon is in Libra, and that is about balance and harmony. You know, it's the scales of justice. And so, you know, in the 11th house of social groups, network, humanity, in this case, it would be, you know, the people of this country. That's one group. And this, we have a separating square to Saturn here in Aquarius, and Saturn has just started going retrograde a couple of days ago. So Mercury started moving forward and Saturn started going backwards, and so I think we're going to be sitting on this for a little while as far as we go as a group. And if you'll notice, the moon is in the 11th house, which is ruled by Aquarius, and Saturn is over down here in the 3rd house. And so there's another kind of symbiotic alignment that's going to come up in the next few days, where Saturn, the moon, and the sun will be closer in a trine. And so, you know, we'll keep looking at that. As a matter of fact, the moon and the sun are in a trine as we speak. So I think that the information that's going to come out from the Gemini sun is definitely going to have an emotional impact on others. And it'll be a topic of debate or discussion. People will be talking about it. Not as much maybe the first couple of days as they will be later when Mercury also gets in Gemini, which is one of the reasons why I think a lot more information will be coming out as time goes on. Mercury won't clear or shadow until from the recent retrograde until the 18th, and it won't even enter Gemini until the 13th. So this starts on the 9th. So don't expect it to be a one-off kind of thing. So now I'm going to add a chart to this, and it will be the US Sibley chart, and it will be on the center, and then I am going to make it not whole house, so it's more specific to, so there is a US Sibley chart on the inner chart, and then the current transits are on the outside, and all the planets are still in the same position they were just a few minutes ago. And so one of the things that I noticed was that, and a lot of astrologers have been talking about this, is that we're in the middle of what we call a Pluto return. And the last time Pluto was here was the Revolutionary War, when we were fighting for our independence, fighting for democracy. And I would say that we're certainly in that battle now, where the country is divided for the first time probably since the Revolutionary War. We have had people with guns attack places that should be, by this point, sacred. So, you know, it's, of course, that happened in the Civil War too. So, but it was not necessarily a fight for democracy then. It was a fight for freedom, but not for democracy. And I guess people would argue with that statement as well. But you get my drift. We're in this sort of space, and there's countries are fighting for democracy all over. And this is a worldwide transit, so of course they are. And of course we are. How we are involved in all of this is a little bit different. Here we have, you know, individuals pitted against each other, and a dividing line that wanted to keep one regime and not go to a new one. And so, you know, that was the same thing during the Revolutionary War, which was different from the Civil War. We were not fighting to prevent the change of leadership. And so this particular hearing is about this attempt to control the changing of powers. And that is more like the Revolutionary War than the Civil War. There are several things going on in this chart. For instance, Mercury, as I said, is trying not only the natal Pluto, transiting Pluto, but natal Pluto. And that is interesting because it's been going back and forth over there. And, you know, we've been discussing this Pluto return. Pluto moves really, really slowly. It takes 248 years for Pluto to go around the chart. And so when Pluto makes alignments, they tend to last a while. And Pluto has been in Capricorn since 2008. And since 2008, we've gone through several different types of transformations in this country. And now we're at the point where Pluto is at the end of his cycle in Capricorn. And when I say the end, it'll still take over a year for it to complete. But he is in that last year. And if you think about it, you know, 2012 or 2008 to 2023, this last year will seem very condensed and very powerful. And part of that started back on January 6, 2021. Part of it. But it was the result of other things that had happened along the way. We also have Saturn here conjunct Pallas Athena. So there are some significant alignments involved in this hearing. We have the Sun conjunct Mars. And that is putting a focus on the aggressiveness. You can expect a certain amount of aggressive rhetoric, even because it's taking place in Gemini. And there's going to be more surprises than we could shake a finger at over the next little while. And, you know, probably for the next year, you guys should just expect that there's going to be one thing after another, after another, after another. And I know we feel like we've already been through that. But looking forward, it's with Pluto, it's more of the same. And Pluto is in the sign of Capricorn, which represents anything with the in front of it. So the government, the Senate, the House, the hospital, the church, anything with the in front of it, anything that's an institution rather than, or a public thing rather than a private thing. In our own charts, it represents our authority and our public standing in a natural chart. So here, Pluto is about power and control everywhere. No matter where Pluto is in your chart, he's about power and control. And when we have a fight over power and control, there is always the threat of one side losing control and the other side gaining it. And you have to look at what the purpose and what the motivation is for the power and control struggle. And, you know, in the US Sibley chart, Pluto and Capricorn are here in the second house, which is about safety and security of you as a person, and your ability to feel as if you have everything you need. And so Pluto's motivations there is to, you know, the pursuit of life and happiness, for people to feel safe and secure, and for him to use his authority to ensure that. And it may be that we are getting another chance to look at what that means. You know, this country started for a number of reasons, but one of the reasons was that so that people could practice their chosen religion without fear of persecution. That would be a safety issue. That would be, I can go to my church and worship without it being burned down or being shot while I'm in it, that kind of stuff. So the ideal is that we're safe and secure, we have the resources we need, and we are stable and steadfast. We don't like things to change in those areas. So the other one of the other alignments that's coming up is that these planets are also in contact with the moon here in Aquarius. And one of the things I want to show you on this when we get to this point is the full moon that's going to take place from Gemini to Sagittarius. And that plays a part in this. And this is another reason why I'm saying, you know, we're not there yet. As a matter of fact, we are past the square, the first quarter moon, and now we're moving into the area between the quarter moon and the full moon. And so by the 14th, when the full moon takes place, we will have a certain amount of information and be able to, I think, gain some sense of that we know where we're going. Maybe. Because on the 13th, Mercury is going to move into Gemini. It'll still be here in the 6th house, but it's going to be in Gemini. And then if you'll notice, that means Mercury is beginning to make its way to the US Uranus. And the US Uranus and Mercury's conjunction will be a bit of surprise, another way of surprising us. And that by then Mercury will have cleared its shadows, so this will be something new. Most of what we're looking at, though, in this chart has to do with the past, and that's what Mercury has been doing here, going back and forth here with this recent retrograde, is looking back at what happened here with Pluto. And Pluto has been here in this Pluto return for a number of years now. And so Mercury is going, what's going on with this Pluto return? What motivation do you have? What is your motivation for wanting to, you know, keep the sense of safety and security that you have? And, you know, I really am going to try to not voice personal opinions in this video, although it's really hard. But because there are certain things that kind of trigger me too, just like anybody else. And the hate rhetoric is one of them. Like I said in the other video, I'm a Pisces. I want everybody to get along, be loving, have fun, just not stress everybody out. But I don't want to, I go against that grain when I don't want to live in an illusion or denial. So one of the other alignments in this chart is Jupiter here, right here, is at a square to Jupiter and Venus here in Cancer. So a square in Aries, square Jupiter in Cancer. So squares are energy that requires a creative working out. It's energy that's not, that's in discord and not able to move back and forth. It's not able to share freely or move from one house to the other. And this, Jupiter is in the 4th house of home. And the Jupiter here in Cancer is in the 7th house of relationships, one-to-one relationships, so those we relate to. And often those one-to-one relationships are not relationships that we have at home. It's not in our area of safety and security, but they're social relationships. Even if it's your husband and wife, it's still more of a social relationship. The 4th house has to do more with your internal sense of emotional security. And right now with Jupiter in Aries, egos are being expanded. People are going to have a lot of pent-up energy, and so exercise is a good idea so that you can burn off some of the excess energy. But it being trine Jupiter in Cancer, those emotions are big too. And so there's this sense with Jupiter in Aries, the me sign, that there's not so much emotional consideration being given to our relationships. And so you want to make sure that when you are looking for your emotional security in the 4th house, the roots of your emotions, that you're conscious of the emotions that you share with others and how they may be feeling that same need to expand their emotional roots as well. And I think that is one of the things that we need to keep in mind when we're going through this hearing, is people have reasons for questioning or wanting to know the answers or the truth or however it's portrayed. And we need to be cognizant of the fact that this has emotional ramifications for people, not just us, but everyone around us. So, pay attention to those sorts of things. Jupiter is going to also expand relationships in about, let's see, 11, 13, about 24 days. The sun will be conjunct the natal sun in the US Sibley chart. And that's going to be interesting because by then things will have shifted. We will have found out a lot more information. The sun moves into Gemini on, into Cancer on the June 21st. And then that 13 days after that, it will be conjunct the sun. So, so remember to give people an opportunity to emotionally process the information that's being shared, not only for yourself, but for other people, allow them that emotion. And if they haven't processed it, don't attempt to have the conversation, because you're going to meet with their Mars, you're going to meet with their Aries, you're going to meet with their ego, not with their who they actually are on an emotional, deeper level, on a soulful level. So one of the things that I found interesting was the next full moon, which, as you can see, this sun is still here next to Mars, and the moon is opposite it. That is a day that you can expect emotions to run high. It's June 14th. It's next Tuesday. And I would almost, expect that we'll be on a break for the weekend for the hearings, and then some other things will happen as the week opens up. And then we have Mars and Chiron here in a conjunction in the 4th house. So, that Mars and Chiron I've talked about before is about finding your own will. And I'm telling you a lot to pay attention to how you assert your will. Aggression towards other people is not acceptable in any form. Go out and get some exercise, process your emotions until you can have a discussion that's a little more amenable to finding a solution. There's no point in having a conversation with someone if you're not actually looking for a solution. But by then we also have Mercury in Gemini, so even more information will be coming out. And we are a day past Uranus being conjunct Venus being conjunct Uranus, and we will actually go back to that because I think that is important. Oops. All right, June 11th, 2022. So this is 2 days after the hearing starts, and it is on a Saturday. And, you would think over the weekend, since this is you'd think they'd go home on Friday night, but TV runs 24/7, and so do some people. So on the 11th, we have Uranus and Mercury I apologize. I'm getting tongue-tied. So on the 11th, we have Venus and Uranus conjunct here in Taurus. And that's at a quincunx to this moon. So that tells us, that adds to the idea that this is not necessarily going to be the easiest experience for us to go through, although Venus loves Taurus. Uranus, not so much. Uranus likes to shake things up. Taurus likes to keep things level. It likes its comfort zone. And Uranus is doing anything but allowing Taurus to remain in its comfort zone. And so we have that alignment, and that is just the day before the sun touches that Mars. And so we're really looking at a volatile situation here, an unexpected situation, and a situation where things could change quickly. And then we have that Mars-Chiron alignment. So while Pluto is still in Capricorn, we can expect there to be a good number of these times when we simply feel like we're overwhelmed with deep, introspective, transformational events. and that has been going on for a while. It will continue to go on for a while. These particular hearings are playing a role. I'm not going to make a statement about what I think the ultimate outcome will be. What I will say is that we are definitely in for some surprises. We are in for new information. Mercury has been going back and forth reviewing this alignment with Pluto, asking about motivations, asking about what the deeper implications are for the better of almost 9 weeks now, 8 weeks. So there's been a concentration of gathering information, and now it's going to start coming out. These hearings tonight are only the beginning of a process that's taking place. And so just put your curious hat on and wait until you get to a comfort level of information that you can process, so that you can process what is actually happening, and the truth, not a story. Facts and figures. Look for facts and figures, dates and times, things like that. When I always go back to the old saying, when somebody tells you who they are, believe you. And we have been told over and over what this situation really was, and we haven't believed it, or don't want to believe it, or feel like that that's such a big thing that it couldn't possibly have been true. And I think we're about to get an understanding of what really is true and what isn't. If the hearings do nothing else, it will help reveal the truth, and that is a blessing. So now for you guys who might be interested, I know that when you guys see these charts, you see all of this stuff and you have no idea how anyone makes sense of all of this stuff. And I meant to mention it in the other video, but just in case I didn't, let me mention it now. I am going to create videos over the next several weeks that explain an astrology chart. Not only am I going to explain an astrology chart and teach you how to use one that you can then use with your own chart, but we're going to build a chart together. That's how I'm going to teach you the different components of an astrology chart. And so I would really look forward to hearing from all of you. I hope you're interested in that. We have exercises and homework you can do to go along with the videos. There is just a ton of fun stuff we can do with this. But it finally came to me that, you poor guys, you hear people talk about planets and signs and houses, and you have no idea what this stuff actually means, what a planet is, or what a sign is, or what a house is. And I think the most mysterious is probably the houses. And so we'll start there. We'll start with building the chart and explaining the houses and how they actually help to build the foundation of your own chart. So I look forward to seeing you for that. And I hope to see you again next week with a weekly horoscope. And by the way, if you have any of these experiences in your own life, either from the other video or this video, please feel free to send me an email, write a comment. I love hearing from you guys. I love answering questions. So my website is soulofchiron.com. And my email address is socinfo@soulofchiron.com. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.